Hello all, it's your friend Anni here from Caffeine-Free Live channel. And this is the channel for supporting all the caffeine quitters. So welcome to this live. Sorry about my English, it's getting lost again. But I just wanted to do this little support live you again, because I know many of you are still in this journey and many new quitters, caffeine quitters are coming to this channel, and thank you for all subscribers and new caffeine quitters. Warmly welcome. First, before I continue speaking, I will check that this works and the chat works. Oh no. Oh yes. Yes, it seems to work. I have still the same problem with the voice. Sometimes it just disappears, then it comes back, disappears, and I haven't been able to fix that. So sorry about that, guys, but I try. Also, I will put the chat if you have any questions or anything that you want to share. Today is my birthday. I'm 41, so yippee. Thank you, Samu. I actually have been out to play like bowling, and we were out to eat, and it was fun, and I eat like Indian food. I love it. And at the same time today I have been thinking about all of you and so many of you who are still in this journey having these brain symptoms. So I decided that today I'm gonna just speak about those brain symptoms and that chemical anxiety and that struggle. You know what is that my channel is all about, and what I have been speaking already many years while I have been sharing my own journey. And now here from the other side, where I'm feeling so much better, I just have so much empathy and sympathy and love and all kind of feelings about you who are going through this, and who are just discovering this journey when your nervous system is dysregulated, and many of you have this like very sensitized nervous system because your brain is rewiring and going through these post-acute withdrawal symptoms and all of that, and then you also have to try to live your life and take care of your responsibilities and all that. So I know there is a lot of things in your plate right now, but I hope these support lives give you some hope and reassurance that we do heal. Yes, 41, that's like halfway through life now. Yeah, I don't know about that. Who knows? I hope that I'm still like, I really feel that my best years are ahead, but I don't still regret anything. So I'm grateful really to be here. But anyway, so I just thought that I'm now I don't show you any articles in this video or anything like that. I'm just randomly gonna go a little bit about those brain symptoms, because I know many of you are there now struggling. So I just want to first of all say to you that it's all normal. I went through that, years. Like I said, it took me the 2 years even to feel a little bit more human, but even then I still had a tons of symptoms. So one of my own concerns, of course, was like that, do I have a brain injury? Because that was just the word that always came up to my mind after my symptoms really kicked in, and that was about like when I was already about 2 months off, because in those first month or first 2 months, I was still I had symptoms, but my really heavy anxiety, like panic anxiety, that falling off the mountain anxiety, wasn't kick in until it's about the 2 months. And that 2 to 6 months was like completely hell. And I think I dissociated so much in that time that I don't have so much even very detailed specific memories in that time. So it's good for me that I don't have, because my brain just don't go back to there anymore. But even after that, I was very much worried about that. Will my brain ever work? Am I able to ever work, or even ever like have a normal kind of connection with other people? So I know that many of you probably have that, like, what the hell is happening? Why I have these negative thoughts all the time, and why I cannot concentrate or be normal when somebody is talking with me, or when I try to like connect with my family and loved ones, why I cannot like feel emotions normally. So that's all part of this journey when our nervous system is dysregulated, and when we are there in the fight or flight or freeze state. And I promise you guys, that state will calm down. Okay, what does someone say? Wait till you hit 59, damn, then time starts to fly like a speed of light. Oh my goodness. Well, but that is a good mark to wait for sure. Remember time when was just 14 years old, and the time was like going so slow, and as was waiting to get 18. Heh, niinpä. Yes, I remember that too. I do remember. I also remember when I was like, I remember when I was 20, and I was in that time I was going in the bars, and you know, when some guy who was 30 years old came there, I was like, oh, that's old man, like and now I think everyone who is like under 40, for me they are like kiddos or youngsters, or I always say somebody who is over 30, I'm just, yeah, but you are just a kid. But that's how it changed, like how we look about the age in the different different like life situations. But I think in any age we can be happy. Like it's not really like, of course, when you are young everything is kind of like, you know, it's different. But I really do think that we can have a really good life in any age. I think 41 is good age, not too young, not too old. Thank you, Samu. That's sweet. Yep, it is what it is. I'm not sure getting any younger, but I'm so happy that I did this, my journey now, and I don't know if I could have started to do this in my 50s. Probably I would be already having Alzheimer if I would have. But anyway, so let's go back to those brain symptoms. So also it's very normal if you feel that like that your brain is full of those, you know, those intrusive thoughts and negative thoughts, when your nervous system just cannot go really back there, you know, the parasympathetic state, while your brain is still going through these symptoms and like doing this update. I like to say update. It's you can use a rewiring or whatever word, but update, healing, whatever you want to use. And I know that many times when we are healing and we try to associate with life, we try to go with places, we try to go out to eat, and your stomach is all fucked up, and you are just, why I cannot eat these foods, and like what is happening with me, because I used to good able to do this and that and this and that, and then you just try to when you try to do anything, it just feels that it doesn't work, because your nervous system is so sensitized and all those feelings. And I also want to say that it's also normal to feel those different kind of feelings inside your brain. Like I had a lot of brain zaps and some tingling, and I still have sometimes some inside feelings of the brain, but they are not scary at all. And I always know that if I had still a little kinks, meaning that if I had like days when I'm more down or feel tired or whatever, I know always that after that I feel updated. So I also wanna like reassurance you and like try to give you that. I don't want to even say hope, because you don't need hope. All you need really is time and stay drug free in this journey. It's really important. So it's like it's always more update. And anyone, if you are now in the wave or in the window or just constant hell, like somebody of you are always describing, it's constant hell. So that's always means healing. And I know it's really, really like easy here to say in this side of the like this side of the road. I know, but when we really start to focus, like we have to really in this journey, so we can keep caffeine free and we can we can go on. We have to focus those positive things, and we have to focus what we have life, even it would be like so little thing that you can do, but that is really what we need to focus in this journey. And then when you start to be more functional, of course, then life gets a little bit easier. So anyone who now is in the first months or even first year, some of you first 2 years you still have a lot of symptoms like I had. So I want to reassure you that it's not gonna be that forever. And I know how the mind is doubtful. I know when you have like the wave of symptoms coming and you don't feel any good, you kind of starts to doubt and lost hope. And oh, is it always gonna be like that? And maybe I'm just one rare that I don't heal, and maybe I'm just the longest long hauler. That's what I was repeating myself always. I'm just the longest long hauler forever. And then I notice, there is actually so many more people than me going through this, and they think also that they are the longest long haulers ever. But it was, of course, the time before I really started to understand what was going on with the brain, and you know how we do heal after chronic addiction. So that's all really normal and part of this, like coming back to homeostasis. Hi David, 53. Quitting caffeine definitely has had multiple effects from the brain, ears, sinuses, digestive system, total. Yes, thank you for that message. It is such a struggle, and all that like chronic use and those years that many of us have been using. I know it is the struggle, but your body is really doing the healing. But yeah, I was thinking a lot of that same. I was thinking, if I only have done that in my 20s, because already that I was already, like I said, I have been in caffeine addict since childhood, but in my 20s I already had dysregulated nervous system for sure. I just didn't know that was because of caffeine, and I went all those therapists, and nobody said to me that, hey, you are drinking tons of caffeine, that's why you have OCD and anxiety. But nobody said to me that, so I almost sometimes I still like go back and forth, like why this is like, why nobody speaks about this, and that's why, of course, I want to share now this information. So those kiddos there, those kiddos under 40, I always say under 40 you are a kiddo, but anyone who is there like in your 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever age you are, like this drug, when you really keep using and years go by, I just want to say that there is nothing good coming about that caffeine addiction when it's really in that chronic state. So really good work quitting and staying quit. You are really real hero. And also, like many of us, like for me, I didn't really choose this. It just came, like when my nervous system it was already enough. My intake was so high, and I just ended up with this journey. So kind of that happens to many people, that they are completely completely unaware. They are not aware about their caffeine intake, or that caffeine is causing them stuff, and then bam, they always describe bam, it just happened, like they just, some reason they quit it, or they accidentally quit it, and then the withdrawals kicked in, and some of us really long post-acute withdrawals also did kick in. And that is because, of course, we have been adapted, many of us, so long time to that chronic caffeine use. So that's why it takes so long time. And some people, it's not the same. Like I do remember, and I know it's not the same for everyone, of course, but those people, of course, who recover faster, like in some weeks or maybe months, they of course don't need this kind of support, and that's really good thing. But even if you wouldn't have like a much of withdrawals, or if you are maybe young, or you haven't been using caffeine so long or whatever, and you don't have a lot of withdrawals, that's really good. And I recommend don't continue to use or go back to drug, because who knows, like if you would just keep going and start to use that again, and then time goes by, years so go by, and maybe when you quit again, I don't know if the situation will be same. So the caffeine doesn't do any good to anyone. What David can say, it has actually been shocking how many people I have encountered who were not aware of what their caffeine addiction was doing to them. Even their own doctors would have very little to say about it. Yes, and that is very, very, very sad in that way, that the doctors don't know what to do with us when this kind of case. For example, like I will go to the doctor because of having all these panic attacks and brain symptoms and can't go anywhere, can't leave, or whatever. The doctors will usually, if the doctor doesn't understand this, they just try to put you on pills. They say that it's anxiety, or especially if you have any kind of anxiety background, it can be that, oh yeah, it's just like anxiety. And that's why I did choose to not go to the doctors. Only like few times I did go to check my heart and check my blood tests, but because when I started to like understand what was happening, I just decided that okay, I'm gonna just go through this hell on my own, and but I do understand also why people go to doctors, because they don't know, and they are like, what the heck, it's now about 6 months or 7 months or whatever, this cannot be caffeine anymore, and then if there's so much disinformation, so I do understand why they do that. Kiitos Janne, hyvin keilasit, kiitos. Joo, mä sain ihan muutaman täyskaadon ja monta paikkoa, se oli kivaa. Mutta silti mä hävisin Rikulle. No ylläri. Rikulle aina häviää, mutta ei se ollut se juttu. Se on se juttu, että on kivaa touhuta. Ja Jannelle myös sinne hyvää viikonloppua. Ja kaikkea muitakin hyvää. What David can say. But even more shocking was the fact that a lot of people are I did read that. Yes, this comes a little bit weirdly, this chat. Sorry. And I do have here strawberries, Yum. I do have now a lot of like good stuff. What else? About about that chemical depression and anxiety. Then some people, they ask like, okay, when we speak about anxiety, it's easy to like start to think about the anxiety that maybe we had before this. So I just want to point out that many of us in this journey is very different, the anxiety that we go through when we go through post-acute withdrawals than when we were functioning normally, being adapted at the drug. So I just want to give you a few examples how you really know that what kind of like difference is the chemical anxiety and that chemical depression. So let's say that the anxiety that I had before was kind of like, okay, I had those intrusive thoughts, or because that was mostly my thing, the intrusive thoughts before all this, and some kind of like anxiety from that. But I was still fully able to function, I always had my caffeine fix, I was able to work out, I was even able to sleep, like, and it was just like, you go with the days with those feelings. But in this journey, that like the chemical anxiety and that really hard brain lock when it feels that your brain just doesn't work, like you try to watch some text or try to connect or whatever, your brain is like, you just know that your brain is not right. You just know that in your brain there's something happening, but you don't really know time. And the chemical depression is more like, it just feels that the completely anhedonic feeling when you just feel completely like empty. If somebody give you $1 million, you just kind of exist in that anhedonia, that chemical depression. you just like there is nothing like cheer you up, or maybe if you had depression before this, maybe it was like a different depression, like when somebody say that, Anni, okay, let's go out, you were like, oh, I'm a little bit down, but okay, and that kind of depression will fix by doing that. But that depression, what I'm speaking about, that many of us go through in this journey when our nervous system is dysregulated and our brain is still healing, it's something that there is no really tools to fix it except time and acceptance. And that's why I always speak also about the radical acceptance, how important it is for many of us, and it's been for me. And even I have been doing tons of hours meditation, it still have been hard. But I think the easier the person can kind of understand, first of all, what is going on, and then understand to not resist that and not to fuel the fire. Because if you are panicking more yourself, like, I mean that if you are like, oh my god, panicking yourself, it's just put your fuel to the limbic system in the brain, your fight or flight system that doesn't speak that language. It's just constantly your brain is watching what you are doing. Your limbic system is watching all the time. There is a okay, let's say example. Let's look the chat. When people find out if it can last months or years, they are disbelief. Then they are disbelief. Yes. Yeah, but it is really it is really hard to, of course, to grab around that, and it was also for me, because there were people going through this before me, and I know that some people say I had the information that this gonna takes time, but when I was in that, for me it was really something that I didn't want to believe. I was like thinking that, okay, I'm the special case, that for me it doesn't take so long, I'm gonna have my quick fix, or I'm gonna find out something, because I was biohacking before and doing this and that, I'm gonna find some miracle cure. But then the more I started to understand and listen to other people who had gone through the same and was going through the same, I started to understand, okay, maybe this it's gonna take time, and you just go with that. But I don't say, of course, there can be the people who this doesn't take so long time, and that's good, and then they heal and they don't need this kind of support. But in my channel, many people, of course, are going through this post-acute withdrawals a little bit longer time, and it doesn't mean that it's something wrong with them. It's just how the brain heals, and that's how it is, and that's why it's good to have the information. All people are different. Some get withdrawals from coffee and some don't. When I quit caffeine use, had no issue stopping. We all individual and both different. Yes, of course. And it depends, like our nervous system have different kind of structure. We have like also like for some people they can like maybe they are not adapted the same way. For me, for sure, being in that 1,000 milligrams per day long time, I think it was just way too much to my nervous system and way too much to my, like it was like dangerous for my nervous system, my state. But yeah, of course, everybody is different. Also with the benzos, even the benzo coaches, they don't know why some people, they don't have those those protracted benzo withdrawals. Not everybody gonna have them, but many people do have them. So that is true, and there can be play on many things like epigenetics and genetics and of course, and that's how we are. That this is so interesting. That's why the drugs are interesting. That we don't know, but so that's the better is to stay away. And of course, like the caffeine quitting always means to quit all forms of caffeine. So Coke, chocolate, all forms of caffeine. So I just want to point that out, because if you are still in some form of caffeine, because many people doesn't know that chocolate contains caffeine, then of course the withdrawals doesn't necessarily kick. That's really important, so important information, because I know many people who still have been staying, for example, chocolate or a little bit tea here and there or something. They don't either the withdrawals doesn't kick because they haven't quit fully yet, or then if they start to play with chocolate or something, can be that their symptoms will prolong, or they don't have the same kind of journey. So it's of course can be really different. For example, if you are not caffeine free, but that's of course I want to point out, because this is important. Yes. Yes, caffeine addiction and its consequences deserves the same kind of support and awareness as any other drug alcohol dependency. Thank you for being one who supports and shares. Yes, thank you for saying that. And of course, how could I not, after going through this, how could I not just, I just couldn't, I'm not that kind of person that I could just keep this by myself. It's not work for me. Some get addicted easier to things because they're just wired differently. The brain, like example drugs, some can take occasionally and have no issues, when some go down the drain and are hooked from first try. Yeah, that's true. It's true, because some people, for example, with alcohol, they go down, they become alcoholics really fast, and then some people they are not. But with caffeine, it's a little bit like, in that sense, it's so underestimated, because many of us, we have been in that like since we remember, like childhood, and we didn't really have the chance with alcohol, with weed, or with other drugs. Usually people starts to use those a little bit later in life. But that's true, like some people are wired differently, and that's why we all, like for example, for me, alcohol was never a problem. I was never alcoholic. I did use that in my 20s, and it was never like my kind of drug, and I was never having any withdrawals with that. Same with smoking. When I was young, I did quit smoking cold turkey, never any kind of withdrawals. Also, I was a little bit, some time of benzos when I was young. I did quit those too cold turkey, never had anything like this. Anything. Maybe 2 weeks of some weirdness I had, and back to normal. So I want to point this out, that our nervous system, our structure of the nervous system are different, and how we react. But then usually when the addiction becomes chronic and heavy and things like that, it can be really hard case. But there are also people who haven't been chronic caffeine addicted. They have been adapted to caffeine use maybe in a few years. Their brain have started to like make that tolerance and like make more receptors and whatever, and then they fall off the mountain and they have long withdrawals. So it is. But what I was saying about those, I had something in my mind. Was it about chemical depression or chemical anxiety? Yeah, I want to also speak about a little bit like exposure therapy, because like many of those benzo coaches, they speak about that when you, of course, when you are middle of the hell, that you don't feel like going anywhere and doing anything. So I just want to share my thoughts about the exposure therapy in this, which means that you still try to like kind of go places and maybe meet people and do what you have to do. So I kind of have what I would say, it's so individual, this healing process. I did a tons of exposure therapy. I did try to work out hard, do whatever, go places. Nothing worked for me. I didn't feel that I was anything like more healed when I did start to go places, or when I did start to like force myself to do things, even when I like was more functional. So it depends kind of the person, like what is your situation, and that's why I don't give like any specific advice that if somebody is in really really bad way and suicidal and stuff, like yeah, let's try exposure therapy and you just now you have to leave the house. And no, it depends of the person. So that's why I always say that we find the things that help us. Like maybe starting, if you wanna expose yourself, like do little things, maybe go a little bit walk, or go to the mailbox, or go to the 10 minutes outside and then go back in, and just like taking baby steps at the first, because your brain will heal anyway and we go back to normal. And I believe that happens either we can do all the stuff, like try to do those things whatever we do to pass time, or then some people, they just want to take it easy, and it works them better. It doesn't cost them more, those flare-ups. I was more like type of person that I wanted to like kind of try my limits, and I overdid it many times. I did overdid gym, and I did overdid sometimes I was like too tired and I still tried to do things, and then I did kind of pay that price, that my symptoms was more intense and my body did take the rest the next days, or even in the beginning. It could be that if I did try to do too much, I was like weeks after that just exhausted and like, you know, drained, and my brain was so fucked. But I don't regret that. I just wanna say and brain is still healing. It's always like a good opportunity also to get yourself to rest, and if that's what your body needs, and if that's what your brain needs. What David can I have to believe that the corporation that have built their business on caffeine have internal data about caffeine and its effects on nervous system and body systems in humans? Yes, yeah, I believe so. Even though every person is different, I have discovered there is a large portion of people who are suffering from long-term addiction withdrawal, even though their usage may be different. Sound is cutting again. Oh my goodness. Hope it works. Does it works now? Yeah, that is so true, David. It's so true, and that's why I also this is now, I always have to say what is my opinion. So this is now my opinion, not anything what I have been reading or anything. But I really do believe in my heart that those who are in the power, they do not know this, and they like the number one weapons of this elite are like the injections, and the caffeine is the number two weapon of this making our society weak. And like of course it's like you said, it's a huge business, so they are making money because of our stupidness. So yeah, so that is how I believe. Moi Emil, works now, was just short pause on the sound. Yes, this does that for the, but I think like by the way, next month I will be vacation, so then I don't do YouTube. But I pretty much think that in these lives that I have done so long, and you can probably see the difference when I started this channel, I was doing this channel in my survival state, so I was never able to really be clear or think clear. I still did the videos, and I did those videos in early on in that knowledge that I had. And I always was so excited when I had my good window, and I was, yeah, I'm really healed, and yeah, now let's make a video. And then I did go down again, and that, you know, the roller coaster did continue. So I really think that soon I have like shared pretty much everything that I have to share, except I still keep updating my own journey. But what comes from this caffeine and that propaganda that there are like in the mainstream is like always feeding you like, oh, new study about caffeine, how it does that. What it comes to poison it doesn't matter how much you do those new studies. The poison is poison. It's plant pesticide. We know what it does. Basically, the facts are facts. It doesn't help how many new studies they make, and what comes these symptoms and like the PAWS, the information that I have been sharing. It's really like, it is true for many people. So I really think that I have shared pretty much everything that I can discover about this topic. Your opinion is shared by many, including myself. Yes, thanks. Yep. Yeah, and that's why I'm searching a different platform, not because I wanna leave this YouTube, but this channel will stay the caffeine-free channel, but because I wanna discover those other topics too, like the injections and the other brainwashing stuff and stuff that are happening, and that is not allowed here in YouTube in the way that we would have the freedom of speech. But I will inform of course, the more what I do then if I'm going to go in other platform. The roller coaster is what really scares people. Most expect a recovery that is the straight uphill line. Yes. Mitäs Samu sanoo? Eduskunnassakin tehdään isot päätökset kahvipäissään. Pistää miettimään, ovatko he soveliaita hoitamaan maan asioita. Kyllä, se on niin totta. Yeah, so in the government too, they are drinking like hell of a lot caffeine. Those people who are deciding our things, the politics, they are always like highly caffeinated. If you watch those news where they are doing those decisions, they are like, I think our society would be really, really different if there wouldn't be caffeine. And like I always say, this book, if you'll read this is The Devil's Cup in English. So this is a good discovery, the history of coffee and how it has been changing the human race and the mind of the human race. What else? Yes, about the straight line. Yeah, let's talk about that before I go. So yes, it's really strange that like that is something that I was also like so I think like amazed at how the healing is not really, it's not the straight line. And that what I think what makes sense to me is that if brain would heal like, and okay, some people, they don't really have the windows, I do know that too, but the most people have some kind of glimpses of feeling better. So if you are that person that you have even 1 minute of feeling better, that is kind of a window. So your brain gives you a little bit pauses. For me, those windows was also like beginning in my journey, and I mean like the first years, I had only those glimpses of feeling good. But in those glimpses, I really felt something that I haven't felt like ever, and like that gave me hope, and that gave me like the motivation to continue, because I really didn't know anything to do. I was sure that I never gonna go back to caffeine because I felt so damaged and brain injured, so that wasn't like option for me. But I know many people, maybe if you haven't felt so damaged or this is not so bad for you, then maybe it is easier to them to relapse. So I do understand that too. When it's hard, people do relapse. But then the hardship comes usually when people starts to feel a little bit better, they start to function a little bit better, they start to get back on their life in somehow more sooner or more later. And then if you got the more healing waves or the chemical anxiety, depression, it can be feeling like really, the setbacks, we don't like them, or the healing waves when they come later in the journey. But then what I always say, that's why it's not good to measure this healing. Like you have to look at the longer period of time, how you have been improving, than just like looking where you are now. If you have improving, that's why it's the roller coaster. The improvements comes, they are there all along, but until the brain is done its healing, you're gonna have symptoms. Some short, some long. And it seems that my brain needed a lot of time. But yeah, that's so true that it's not a straight line, but it's a little bit different for us women in that sense that we have our periods and ovulation, and usually that time is really hard for us. And then the some men say to me that for them it's more like constant hell is a word that I hear. Or then there are some men also who have the windows and the waves, and then they go with that. So all kind of healing is possible. Mine had been moments, good then bad, not real rhythm. Waves is great way to describe it. Yes, it is, and I also have been describe it in the waves because it comes there from the kind of like the benzo world, but I really can relate so much things what comes to healing. Even the symptoms can be a little bit different depending what drug you have been on. Like with caffeine, of course, and stimulants, it's more like a depression and anhedonia and that kind of, and some other drugs, it can be something else more. But basically, like all the neurotransmitters are affected. So that is the good wave, the wave and the window. What Steve said, what role does calcium play in recovering from the caffeine? Well, I do know that caffeine like blocks the calcium, so it stops the calcium, like it cannot absorb when we are caffeinated, but I haven't take any kind of calcium supplements. I only have been taking bone broth, which contains calcium. Sometimes I did make that. So, because I do believe that we get enough calcium from the diet if you have a good diet, but I don't really know how to understand answer to that specific stuff, like how does just calcium play. I have to study that. I haven't dived deep in like the specific minerals, but the minerals of course are important overall your health, like that you. For me, I take minerals from the salt, like good quality salt, and I put salt in my water, and I make sure that I hydrate, because the dehydration is really huge thing in this caffeine addiction. That's why. And also this is one thing that many people say, and I have noticed that I don't have to go peeing anymore like used to. Like I can go all day there in the city, and then when I come home I can go to pee, and I don't have to go to the toilets when I'm out there. But oh my goodness, when I was a caffeine addict and I was like having my cappuccino here and cappuccino there and going places and going here and there, I was always have to pee all the time because I was so dehydrated. And because of the body, of course, body wants to get rid of the poison. That's natural. When you drink poison, and if you drink a lot of that, body's like, oh my god, hell, this have to go out. And it does it best. And then if it can't keep up to do that, it have to restore the toxins in our body and tissues. Like we know the caffeine toxins will restore in our body. So that's kind of. But thank you for the question. I can like dig that in the next live. If you want to know more. Maybe Steven Chernisk would know more. Maybe there was something in Caffeine Blues about calcium, I think. Probably you can check out the Caffeine Blues, because there probably was, but I just don't remember now what it was. I found the water has been probably my greatest help in recovery. Yes, as a diuretic, I wonder if you've been losing calcium on caffeine. Yeah, for many people, probably have. But that's weird also, because I had also a lot of growing pain in my journey. Like I also felt like that my bone did get stronger, so that's kind of cool. It's really cool that we can actually heal, and our bones also are healing. Even the bone tissue is a little bit slower to heal, of course, like our skin tissue heals faster and stuff, the bone and the teeth, they heal a little bit slower, but they do heal actually. So it's interesting. Maybe I will have a strong bones after all when I get in my 50s, 60s, 70s, who knows. What else I was saying? Yes, the water. And one thing that I did notice, and this is something that I noticed quite early on in my journey, that sometimes when I had really bad anxiety or headaches, I went to take a bath, and like I did only have a little like pool, whatever it was. And I did notice when I was just there in the water, or sometimes I did go in the swimming place, but it was a time that there was the pandemic was there, so I couldn't go many places because no places were open. So I did just go sometimes in a little pool in my apartment, and I did notice that just being in the water, because water is really like, it's like a grounding element. And I know that some people say that, oh, I get anxiety attacks and panic attacks if I try to take a bath. But for me, some reason, water was always really calming. And I actually did took a lot of cold showers too in beginning of my journey. I just did it. I just didn't care what anybody says, because I did the cold exposure so long before this started. So it was kind of something that I was used to do. So I continued to do cold showers, and then when I moved here in the country, I did do a lot of sauna, and going in the snow in the winter. Not like overdoing it or anything, but it was just something that some reason I did like to sauna, and it was okay to my nervous system. Many people I remember commented me that they cannot go to the sauna or take cold, and I do understand that it's not for everyone, and you have to listen to your nervous system and how it reacts. But for me, some reason there was some calming elements to doing cold, and I didn't do that always. Like when I had like more bad waves, of course, and depression, I didn't want to do anything, but I did do sauna quite much, like in the winter time. And of course here, when the winter time is cold, I think my body just did like to be in warm sauna. And sometimes I was just laying there, even with heavy anxiety, I was just laying there in sauna, and it felt like kind of nice, the warm, like, the steam and that. But we are different, and we are living in so different environments, so we have to remember that. So what works for somebody doesn't work to other, but we Finnish people, we are the sauna people. So for me, since I have been child, I have been always being in the sauna person and going in the sauna many hours. So I think it's something in my blood that I just love in sauna. Hi Ajit, how are you? 10 viewers. Oh my goodness. I think I have to go soon. But do you have any other questions? Or anything you wanna throw or say? I'm just happy. This has been a good life, and this has been really good day for me too. Good birthday. And I also want to say that the when we start to heal, so in your first year, you probably, if you are like me and you have these PAWS, you don't enjoy your birthday, you don't enjoy your any celebration. Christmas can be horrible. Maybe in the second year too, it can be, depending, are you waving or window, but some point you start to enjoy all the like holidays again, and they start to have a meaning again. You start to actually wait Christmas if you are a Christmas person. If you are not, then it's gonna be the same than it used to be. But usually when we start to go back to normal, we start to have the motivation and enjoyment for the things. But I know that when you are not having those, then you just have to like it sucks. It sucks to be the Christmas, and if you're the Christmas person, you don't enjoy the presents, or you don't enjoy the food, and you don't enjoy even the company. I know it's really hard, and the you know, the fucking chemical depression comes in, the anhedonia comes in, and then everybody else is having fun. And I know it's hard to watch when other people are having fun, and if you are like, you have to go in your family dinners and whatever, and everybody just thinks that why this is like that, and you know, because many people just thinks that we are like or you know, so it does get better, and I'm sure that people who are in your family, they will see that too when you get better, and then you can kind of like be even stronger with the situation that comes, that normal people are anxious. I know that you are not. After this, you are just not you are just not anxious about anything pretty much what life brings, because things goes in the new perspective. I think what hurts people in their recovery is panic, not understanding what is happening to them and why. Yes, because you know, like I wanted to say, panic, and the panic and the fear. Fear is many people say it, Anni, I can deal anything but this fear. When this fear goes away, and like let's put it this way, that think about our nervous system, that if we would be there in the hunting, like in the forest, and when the bear comes, so we have opportunity that we run, okay, if that's possible, we run away, and that's one option to our nervous system. And then we can fight the bear, okay, maybe it works. Okay, what if that doesn't work and we are still there? We can freeze, like we can go there in the playing dead, and then the bear can eat us or not. But let's say that bear would still want to eat us, even we would play freeze. So we when some wild animal wants to eat you. I know this is a really like radical like the example, but anyway, so then you can dissociate. So okay, let's say that this happens in your brain, that you did get this shock, or you did cold turkey or whatever, and your nervous system is misfiring. It's misfiring that there is a danger, and in your brain, the brain doesn't know that what the hell is going on, and then basically it's like the misfiring. So in that situation, we can pretty much, what we can do, even we cannot necessarily take the panic away, or we cannot take the symptoms away, but what we can do, we can respond to those symptoms with not putting more fire, like, you know, accelerating the fire. Like we can kind of answer with the awareness, kind of. That kind of explanation would be right. Because I have noticed that those people who kind of keep up digging all kind of scary info and digging about those horror stories and digging about this and that, they just fool the anxiety. That just fools anxiety. And then those people who, even they would have really horrible time, like many do have, then there are people who are still, they have like hell going on, but they don't care. They don't care. They still, like, even they are going through hell, they somehow, they don't want to dig the information, or they don't want to go the groups and you know, be with the other sufferers, and they kind of find their inner strength in this journey. And that's what I do recommend to everyone. If you feel that something in this journey is working you or it's not working you, you do what is good. If you feel that watching some video is good for you, if that gives you hope and strength, then watch it. But if it feels like, oh, this, I don't want to hear this shit. Sometimes I said even in my journey, I said, when people are sending me all kind of this, I didn't sometimes say anything. I was just putting them the trash if people were sending me some kind of scary stuff, or or something like, oh, look that guy and look this and that, because I wanted to focus on the positive stories, and that's what I wanna like focus when I help people, that we do heal, it's not permanent damage, and like that's about it. Like the positive, and also the same time still not no, I have wanted to be the honest still, that these were the symptoms that I did go through and they were real, and I felt that because that gives like the real picture how the journey can look. But like I don't want to like spread any kind of the fear, because that doesn't help anyone. Can you speak a little about anxiety symptoms when quitting? I never experienced this normally, but have had terrible bouts of anxiety while detoxing and adjusting to no caffeine. Yes. Okay, so do you want that I speak about those symptoms? Well, I never have had this kind of anxiety when I did quit caffeine. So for me, it was like constant negative looping thoughts, intrusive thoughts, and my shoulder was this. I had really bad neck pain, and my shoulders was tight. I was never comfortable in my own body. I was always just irritable, anxious, very moody, very jumpy, not be able to be still or relaxed, if that makes sense for you. It's very normal, very, very normal when your nervous system is like going back to balance in your brain. And I have all kind of these weird thoughts, and I had also panic attacks, insomnia, peeing nighttime, like I had to run pee all the time. All the symptoms that your nervous system gives you when it's dysregulated, like, or healing, or whatever word you wanna use, sensitized. So it's very, very normal. And like I did show you in that one live, you can check that out. That good side is anxiety center. I can link that. There is a lot of anxiety symptoms that just anxiety can do, and basically they are all the symptoms that are in the world there. So I will link that now there. So that is kind of like the good side if you wanna check some kind of information that can calm you down, that it is anxiety what we are going through in this journey, and that's why we are so fucked. But anxiety, as horrible as it is, it doesn't last forever, and your nervous system wants to go to balance. It's not something that your nervous system wants to be dysregulated. It always wants to go back in the balance. But when we are sensitized and healing, all it just takes time before it kind of does that. So yeah, and our nervous system structure and everything like that, we are a bit different. Like some people say, for example, in this journey, that they have only, like, for example, only looping thoughts or intrusive thoughts. Not everyone have, for example, headaches or really heavy migraines like I had. Some people have, like I had a lot of pain, like neck pain. My neck was always tight. I don't have that anymore. Yay. And also my vision was blurry. I have always vision, and then I had hard to concentrate. I couldn't read any books that I wanted to. I was always, when I was reading, my mind was like, it's just like my eyes was going anywhere. Now I can read books. So yeah, so it's depending the person what kind of symptoms you have, but they are not still dangerous. You have to remember that they are just very uncomfortable. But I would say, like, after like adjusting to no caffeine, the most symptoms that people describe, almost everybody, even no long withdrawals, are fatigue. some kind of depression or anhedonia, and low mood, and then migraines. Those are very common even with the people who don't have the long post-acute withdrawals. They say that. So that's very common, even if you would have like only a few weeks or or a few months of symptoms. So then those will disappear. And then usually people, when they start to heal, they say, oh, I have so much energy. But also with the energy, you have to remember that sometimes, like for me, I had days when I was like, what is this energy, when you have a good like glimpses, good moments and good windows, and then other day you are down. And I know that that can be very like annoying, but because that day or moment when you start to feel better and good, you maybe make plans, or you promise somebody to something, especially if you are a little bit longer in the journey. It can be happening that, okay, let's go to the beach tomorrow and whatever, and then tomorrow comes and you are, oh, I'm fucked. And then I did notice that that's why I just learned to live by the moment. So when I had a good moment, I did do things. I did go outside or park or try to get the sun or whatever, walking my dog, little things in the first. And then when I had the down days, I was watching Netflix and I always like was watching a lot of like Netflix or something when I had a depression. But I did have 2 points in my journey when my nervous system was so fucked that I couldn't even watch TV. And that was in my beginning, those first 6 months. And then in that 35 months anxiety wave that I had last spring, I had days in that wave that I couldn't watch TV, and that was horrible. But other than that, I always like tried to go like with the flow and do something. Do something about what I could. And then when you can't do anything, if you can't, for example, if you don't have energy to make food, I understand sometimes it's like sucks to even make food, or if you cannot go grocery store, then you have to find something simple. If somebody can buy you food and eat something simple, eat what you can basically. If you have a lot of anxiety and panic, like just eat what you can and don't worry about diet. Your diet, you can fix your diet in so many times, and you are able. Like I'm eating now the foods that I eat what I eat. Like I can eat pizza. I can eat the things that I wasn't able to eat in this journey because I was so fucked. But I'm not still going back to the sugar or anything like candies or ice cream, but I'm just enjoying so much that I'm like feeling the normal, my digestion is normal, and that's the huge blessing. And the people who have gone through this journey, they say that they can do pretty much anything. They eat out, except they don't touch caffeine or any drugs, but like you can tolerate the foods better. Of course, it's always good to have the good diet, we know that, and we like eat healthy, but it's so lovely to able to eat out and take the foods that you like. That then when I have the worse anxiety, I was even scared to take any foods because I know that I was always like my digestion was always off and I had the burping, and it wasn't a nice feeling. Nobody enjoyed that when you go out to eat, that you have always like the fucked up feeling, and that will go away. That's the one really huge thing. All the hundreds of other benefits that comes through this journey. So I really do recommend that you will keep up the good work. Hi Chris, I have hit 3 years and still have anxiety, but moments it is better. Yes, congrats Chris, amazing work. That is very normal. You will feel very, very good. I will say that. Just keep up the good work. Yes, that is how it goes, and that's how many of us will learn in this journey. Along the way we learn that how this goes, and and that it always gets better. There should be 100,000 of people listening to you right now. What the heck? Yeah, but we know this is a underestimated topic. We cannot. That is what we can expect in this kind of topics, and many other topics too that are pretty, I think, like important in this time to speak, but there some reason we cannot speak about them. At least one thing is good about this caffeine topic, and this is something that YouTube allows me to speak. Sometimes I think it maybe caffeine is something that people, it's so hard to quit for people, so that's why like they don't care. Speak Anni what you want, because nobody can actually quit caffeine. Anni, do you think food makes symptoms worse at all, like fruit, sugar, or juices? Well, how would I answer that? Well, I thought, even let's say half a year ago, I thought anytime that I had some spicy food or I had something, I thought that did make my symptoms really much worse because I had so much anxiety. But like I haven't felt anything. Like I eat fruits, I eat like sugar from the fruits. I don't feel that doesn't cause me any anxiety, sugar from the fruits. But I do know if I would start to eat candies or ice cream, I would be addicted for that, for sure. Because I know for sugar, it just happens for me. But I just do believe that when we are dysregulated, our body just cannot handle those things while we are healing. But after we heal, we can. Our body knows what to do with the food and what comes where, and brain knows what to do and not to react like fearfully when we are not there in the fight or flight. Our limbic system is not firing anymore, like misfiring. So that is how I think about this journey, that why we are so like sensitized. It's just like because the nervous system and brain is just rewiring, and that's why we feel that we cannot do, like some people, they have like only few foods that they can eat, but for me, I will never go back to like strict carnivore. I know that it's not something that I wanna have food freedom, let's put it that way, but I wanna keep the main diet healthy. But like, why wouldn't you sometimes, if you can go out to eat, it's something just that I like to do. But I understand if somebody wants to be, for example, a really strict carnivore, and if that works for you, then do that. Like I always do that if that works. But I have seen some people carnivore while they are in this journey. It can make things worse for some. And, like you have to do what you do. And like I always say to some people that when it comes up to diet, that you have time to try diets if you are going through this journey, like many of us, that you have to wait before you get better. So please try and see if there is something that works for you. But I just wished I had knew some of the stuff that I did figure out in my own journey a little bit sooner. But better later than never. But I don't know, you can always share if you have find that you have, for example, some miracle cure, or if you find that some diet did fix your symptoms completely away, then of course please share. But what I have been seeing like this far, that is just not happening for many. Even many people do try, and I know also some people who watch this, they have really clean diet and they still have symptoms, even they don't eat any sugar or anything, not any processed, still go through symptoms after chronic caffeine use, because the brain heals like that. What? Stevie, so you are a ray of light today, thanks. Day 18 getting better. Yay! That's a huge thank you. Yes, I'm really happy. I just promised that I will watch a movie with my boyfriend today still, so I don't keep you here longer, but I'm happy that you are there and you are doing the amazing work, and please keep me updated every now and then. How are you doing? You can send me Discord update or just comment on video every now and then. Not, you don't always have to put, but sometimes if you want, that's so nice to hear from you, because many of you are on my mind, and I sometimes wonder like, how are you doing? And you know, so if you want, just keep updating and keep updating to yourself, like put in your calendar what day you did quit and how many days you are on. That helps you to keep like motivated, and celebrate every single step. Celebrate every month. When you are month caffeine free, celebrate that. When you're 2 months whatever, celebrate that. Like, because those are the huge steps. So have a nice weekend all, and let's see if I do maybe few more support live in this month, and then next month I will be in vacation. So see you and keep up.